Hello, Zagros and Elaf. I want to give you guys some feedback on your on the way that you modeled the parts in Inventor, just so that you can make corrections for your second iteration. So I won't be able to get to see you in person before the Christmas break, and so I just wanted to record this video for you and let you know about ways that you need to change your part modeling so that you can get a better grade, so that you can get a better grade on your second iteration. Okay, so this video is not talking about different ways that you need to change your overall design. I already talked with Zagros about that during the lab time. This is just talking about how you model the parts in Inventor. Okay, so we'll start with the simplest part. This one is just a cylinder, so that is good. You did everything right there. Here you did well, so what I'm looking for is making sure to see if these sketches are fully constrained, and it is. It's fully constrained, so you've done well on that. Okay, this one again is simple. You've got everything fully constrained and have done well there. Okay, now a couple things on this part. You defined dimensions here, but notice it's not all fully constrained, and I can tell that because of the color of the lines. These two are blue, that means they're constrained, but the black ones aren't. So I have not constrained this distance, and you can see the things that I'm moving, I have not constrained. Okay, so yeah, you would need to add dimensions. Notice that's not constrained. You would need to make this and this perpendicular, this and this perpendicular, that and that perpendicular, and this perpendicular. Okay, so I just went through and added those perpendicular constraints, but still the dimensions are not completely defined. So you would need to add all the dimensions necessary for your design. I don't know if it's 4, but whatever it needs to be in order to fully constrain that sketch. Okay. Another thing that you so when you drew these, you mirrored them to this side, so that's good. You use that mirror. Okay, but let's look at how you made these. Okay, so yes, this is completely defined. However, this one, the location is not defined. You see that? And the others, so I would need to define that distance because that's important for your design. Okay, so that's not defined. The other thing, notice if I go back to that, you see when I move that, the location of that hole moved. Okay, so I think you tried to define the location of that hole but didn't quite get it right. If I were you, I would make a construction line that goes from here to here, and then add a constraint to make that on top of the center line. You see, and so what that just did is put that point always in the middle of that. Okay, so those are some things that you need to do there, is to define that distance. Okay, now the main thing I need to talk about is this one. Okay, so this sketch, even though things are defined, it's not done in the best way, meaning that it doesn't capture your design intent. For example, if I change this dimension, only this one changes and that one doesn't change. Okay, same thing if I change this dimension here. Okay, if I change it to 6, this one does not change as well, and they should be linked. Okay, so here's a better way. I'm just going to start a new part to show you how to do that. Okay, so let's extrude this. Okay. Now, if I were you, I would just go make one of them. Okay. Now, if you want to define where the center is, what I would do, I mean, anyway, somehow you need to define define where the location of this is. Okay. You can do that. Yeah, so one way that you could define that distance is to make a construction circle, define the diameter of it, and then simply constrain that point to be on top of there. Okay, anyway, you could also define then the distance from here to here, whatever you want. Okay, and the only thing I'm left to do there, let's do that. Now notice it's fully constrained, and then when I extrude this, let's say if you did it as a cut, well then I could mirror that, right? Mirror that around this plane. There you go. Okay, so that would be a better way of doing it rather than trying to include both of these circles in one sketch. Okay, so if I were you, I would make this in one sketch and then mirror it over here, and also make sure that that would link this hole with that hole through the mirror. Another thing is that you intend for this hole to be the same diameter as that hole. Now, since you won't use a mirror for that, one thing you could do to link those holes, for example, I could call this pencil diameter equals 6. Okay. Now, when I make, where is it here? Yep, sorry. When I make this diameter, you could do pencil diameter there. And now that is 6. I could make this pencil diameter, and they're all linked together. See that? So that if I go change this one, change it to 4, that they should, the other should change as well. Notice those changed. Okay. Anyway, that's just a couple things on that. Now you did well using these extrusions because you mirrored it, so those are linked. So that's a good thing. Okay, so those are just a couple things you should do differently. Just making sure all your sketches are fully constrained, and things that you intend to be the same, that they actually are the same, either through variable names or through mirror. All right, keep up the good work. Hopefully your second iteration can work well and do good. Okay. All right. Have a Merry Christmas.